against the potentially upstart Detroit Lions. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming in. If you are catching this stream late or after the fact, you may know by now I got to get this thing set up real time. And so just bear with me for a brief moment and we'll be off and running, or feel free to skip ahead a bit. Unfortunately, already feeling the effects of the injury bug. As I just mentioned, Travis Kelce, Chiefs all-world tight end, Travis Kelce is going to miss the game due to the hyperextended knee. He will not play. That affects everybody in the fantasy space because Travis Kelce was a first-round pick in 100% of redraft leagues and is a bona fide piece on any contending dynasty teams. Major news, major fallout as a result of this game. As far as the outcome and the betting odds, not to mention, of course, him not being in your lineup. Lot to dissect as a result. We're going to get into all of it. Of course, best wishes to Travis Kelce. It's expected to be a short-term absence. It sounds like he was trying to give it a go earlier today. The team as a whole all decided that in the best interests of Kelce and the team alike that he would not play tonight. This is a team with Super Bowl aspirations. They will take the long view approach here and be cautious with one of their marquee and franchise players. So, as you could probably imagine, it makes sense from the perspective of team interests that he will not go tonight. But it's expected to be a short absence. So we will see what comes of it. But the NFL is back. It's an exciting day. It's going to be an exciting evening for everybody. I'm just going to let my friends in Discord know. And we're off and running. Jam-packed fantasy potential in this matchup. Unfortunately, with Travis Kelce out, that absolutely takes away from this a bit, but you still have Patrick Mahomes. You still have some very interesting guys along that offense. Sky Moore is one of the intriguing potential wide receivers for the 2023 season, a trendy pick in every league. Of course, interesting backfield options in Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. Both are on fantasy rosters everywhere. Pacheco is probably in at least 90% of starting lineups. And then, of course, if you do have Travis Kelce, there are going to be certain situations. There are going to be some leagues where your best option, your best alternative is Noah Gray if you have to fill the tight end spot. Surely there are 10 team leagues, you could probably pivot to a slightly safer stream. But in 12 and 14 team leagues, this might be your only option. He did improve his numbers across the board from his rookie year into his sophomore season. Modestly, of course, but it did still happen. So you can roll the dice in an absolutely desperate situation with Noah Gray tonight. It'll be interesting to see what he does. And then, of course, for the Lions, that's where it's really interesting. Jared Goff's is not a starter in one quarterback leagues, but he is in super flex leagues. And then, of course, Amon-Ra in 100% of starting lineups. Jahmyr Gibbs probably in 100% of starting lineups. David Montgomery is probably in about 75 to 80% of them. I would say at least upwards of 70% of them. And then, of course, intriguing tight end in Sam Laporta. He's not likely to crack starting lineups. Certainly not in 10 and probably even 12 team redraft leagues. Maybe in a dynasty league somewhere. That's probably about it. You want to tread lightly, proceed with caution with rookie tight ends playing their first game. Nevertheless, should be a good game. Plenty of still offensive firepower and offensive potential in this game, even without Travis Kelce. It certainly takes away from the excitement. You're talking about the tight end one, a clear 2023 first round pick in all formats. So it hurts. There's no doubt. But there's still plenty of intrigue in tonight's game. And Kelce owners can take solace in the fact that this is still expected to be a pretty short-term absence. And then, of course, there could be start-sit questions for the evening. Happy to walk through those. Happy to help figure that out in the event that you can't make a Saturday or Sunday live stream. I will remind folks, what's going on, guys? Good to see y'all. AB, Alex, good to see you guys. Happy football. Welcome back. We made it. If you cannot make a Saturday or Sunday live stream where I will be providing start-sit help, we can help out with that tonight. However, I will remind people, I will do this several times over the course of however long this stream is. Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Live streams on this channel with exclusive start-sit help. That is the name of the game. Helping to figure out lineups, last-minute calls, that last guy, or that last position, that starting position that you're between two players on. That's where we ultimately make those calls, those decisions. Saturday and Sunday obviously provide for the best possible overview of your situation, because we'll have gone through practice reports in full at that point. So that is where I can be of most help. If you're able to tune in, the most accurate thought process I can provide to you guys at that time. Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you can't make either one of those, I can try to help with start-sit questions tonight. Obviously, potential start-sit questions that directly impact this game, of course, are more than welcome. But ultimately, we still have Friday practice reports to get through tomorrow. There are Thursday practice reports that certainly need to be dissected. The best chance that you'll have, as far as like the best thought process I can provide if you're between two players, is over the weekend. Nevertheless, lots of storylines coming into this evening. Still plenty of offensive firepower potential here between the Chiefs and the Lions. Should be a good game. I do believe the over is around 52. That probably maybe dropped a point or two with the news that Travis Kelce is officially out. It's 53. Or that was 6 hours ago, prior to Travis Kelce being ruled out. So expect that to come down a bit. There's probably some people who bet the under who are feeling good about that opportunity, or that bet that they made as a result of Travis Kelce missing this game. Remains to be seen whether that plays out or not. I do still think there's a good chance that that solid number of points are scored this evening, making for an exciting return to the NFL. What do I expect from Sky Moore today? I mean, he's got wide receiver 2 upside. I don't know what we can expect. We're already down Travis Kelce, right? What we also don't know is, where is Kadarius Toney at in his readiness to contribute? We know he's back. I think he's expected to suit up tonight. Missed a lot of time over the course of the preseason, training camp in the preseason, due to another injury. but he returned to practice. It sounds like he's going to suit up for this evening. I would be shocked if Kadarius Toney had a significant impact on this game, though. Availability does not automatically mean you're 100%. You're back to the levels that we were expecting pre-injury. I got to imagine Sky Moore is going to get a lot of looks tonight. I got to think he gets at least 7 or 8 targets. Should be, I mean, Sky Moore should be like the floor should be 5 catches. At least 4. The floor should be 4 or 5 catches for Sky Moore. That should be the low point that we can expect. The floor should be high tonight. There should be a lot of looks. He's healthy. The other 2 top that are supposed to be top options in this passing game are not. We're down to Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, whatever Kadarius Toney can give you after missing multiple weeks due to an injury, and then like Justin Ross and Watson and Noah Gray, of course, like whatever Noah Gray can give you as a fill-in tight end, fill-in starter at tight end. Yeah, Sky Moore should get, I got to imagine, a minimum of 7 to 8 targets, and that should put him in at least the 4 or 5 catch range. You know, you're talking anywhere from, at that point, I would say 60 to 75 yards. And then if he scores a touchdown, he's a wide receiver 2 on the week. Which I guess he should have he should have decent odds of. You know, the Chiefs are they're playing it cautiously, but this is a great opportunity for them to see a young player that they invested good capital in last year is ready to step up and step into a more feature role, a more prominent role. So I would be firing up Sky Moore if I have him. There's a lot of receivers. I would say, like, right now, I would probably start, there's probably a lot of receivers that I would bench in favor of Sky Moore. I mean, he's a guy, for me right now, Sky Moore is the equivalent of a guy that you drafted in the 4th or 5th round. He's attached to Patrick Mahomes, and he's the one healthy starter with the highest expectations compared to, say, like Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Scantling will be involved. He'll contribute, but he's all or nothing. Sky Moore needs to be this team's short and intermediate threat in the passing game tonight. He should be a strong wide receiver 2 play. And there are a lot of receivers I would sit in favor of Sky Moore if I had to, if I needed to. If I'm between Sky Moore and a few guys, like, I'm probably playing Sky Moore. Yeah, AB, I am. I'm benching Christian Watson. And that's easy for me because Christian Watson is not practicing right now. He's picked up another injury. He might miss this game entirely. He might miss Sunday against the Bears outright. I would absolutely not mess around. Yes, I would start Sky Moore over Christian Watson. I 100% would. 1 for 1, if they're both, all things equal, if they're both healthy and they're both, like, not on the injury report, yeah, Christian Watson. But Sky Moore is not on the injury report and could be the main dude tonight for Patrick Mahomes. And Christian Watson just missed his 2nd straight practice with a hamstring injury. At this point, you're probably looking at, historically, like a 10% chance that Christian Watson even plays. We need a miracle, like, limited practice tomorrow. And even then, how good do you feel? Yeah, I would. I would take Sky Moore over Christian Watson tonight. Yeah, I would. I would not play. I mean, if I have an option like Sky Moore, I'm not playing Christian Watson. Yeah. Actually, I'm reasonably confident I have Sky Moore on a bench somewhere, and I should change that. I do. I have him. I have Jahan Dotson in my starting lineup over Sky Moore. I'm changing that right now. I'm changing that right now. I like Jahan Dotson this week, but Terry McLaurin logged a full practice today. Does that mean that he's 100% off the turf toe? No, but he's practicing. I expect Terry McLaurin to play in this game on Sunday. That's going to affect Jahan Dotson a little bit. And they're playing Arizona. Washington's playing Arizona. There might not be a lot of pass attempts for the Commanders this Sunday. Let's put it that way. They may not need to throw the ball a ton because Arizona is one of those teams on paper that you're looking at right now and thinking to yourself, they're not going to win a game. And teams are not going to have a hard time handling them because they don't even have a quarterback. No disrespect to Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune, but they don't have a quarterback. Alex, you got to stop. You got to stop meeting people who keep getting married, or who choose to get married opening weekend. Kidding, but also you need to tell your people to chill out. Do this over the summer. So yeah, I mean, I expect Sky Moore to have a pretty big role this evening. Got good wide receiver 2 upside, and I just put him in one of my lineups over a guy over Jahan Dotson, who I originally had in there. But I do think Sky Moore is a guy that you want in your starting lineup tonight. Let's see. I see a few other start sit questions. Again, happy to help out with those tonight. But I want to caveat, if you're able to make a weekend stream, I encourage you to do so when we get through practice reports, and we'll have a clearer vision of what the Sunday slate is shaping up like, what it's looking like. That'll be when I can give you my best advice. Nevertheless, I'm happy to talk shop tonight if needed. Should you start Gray over Juwan Johnson? That's about that's about the cutoff, right? I'm inclined. I liked Juwan Johnson as like an end of bench guy in the event that you grab a tight end too. If you're in one of those leagues where tight ends get hoarded and you want to have a tight end too to protect yourself from like a thin waiver wire, Juwan Johnson like feels like that cutoff dude of the guy to grab. I would probably play Juwan because he's the starter. I mean, I understand the appeal with Noah Gray, and the opportunity is wide open. He's playing with a much better quarterback. But Juwan Johnson is a dude that we were already drafting anyway. Like, I think there's a talent / experience combination that for me makes it a separator here. I still give the slight edge to Juwan. It's close, but I would give the slight edge to Juwan Johnson. I would. Yeah, I mean, look, if you pick up Gray and you want to fire him up, I get it. I mean, it's a natural it's a natural transition off of Travis Kelce. You're still attached to Patrick freaking Mahomes, and the target distribution tonight feels like it could be a little random. Kansas City might lean on their run game a lot tonight. Well, we'll see. I mean, they're playing a team with some offensive firepower. They may not be able to just rest on their laurels depending on the situation. Chiefs are in an interesting spot here. Because not only are they down Travis Kelce, as Alex points out, they are also down Chris Jones. I mean, that's significant for their defense. He's far and away their best player on defense. And they're not going to have him tonight. Yeah, I mean, I would feel great about Jahmyr Gibbs. I already feel fine about Jahmyr Gibbs, but if I have David Montgomery, I'm finding a way to get him into my lineup tonight because you figure he's going to probably handle a few more carries than Gibbs. Both of these Lions running backs, yes, are incredibly enticing tonight. I like Gibbs to catch 3 or 4 out of the backfield. I do think he's going to get at least 10 to 12 touches. I know that there was some indications or suggestions by the coaching staff that they may reduce his workload a little bit, at least early on. That's possible. That's certainly possible. And David Montgomery is a pretty good player in his own right. They paid him this offseason. They're going to want to keep him involved. But I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs has to be a part of your game plan right off the bat. If you draft a running back in the 12th overall, this is not like a developmental player, or this is not a player at a position that often requires time and development. This is a guy who should be contributing for you tonight. 10 to 12 touches for Gibbs should be the floor, and I got to imagine he should flirt with 15. He should flirt with 15 touches, and that alone, that is enough to make it. It's like, yeah, I'm firing him up in my running back spot. Also, if you haven't heard it yet, let me be the first one to tell you guys, put your Thursday night football players into one of their position spots in your starting lineup. Keep your flex open for Sunday and or Monday night. Maximize your flexibility. Put your Thursday night football players in their positional spots. So if you have David Montgomery, if you're firing him up, put him in a running back spot. Don't put him in the flex. Put him in a running back spot. Put another guy who's playing either Sunday or Monday in the flex. You never know what can happen. Maximize your flexibility. If you know you're playing a player tonight, put him in. If you know there's a running back that you're playing tonight, put him in a running back spot. If you know there's a receiver that you're playing tonight, put him in a receiver spot. Let me be the first to share that with you guys. Remind you guys of that if you haven't seen or heard it already. Yeah, I mean, you should feel good. You should feel good about the Lions running backs. David Montgomery is going to be in 10 and 12 team leagues. He's going to be like a flex play. Plenty of weeks. You can feel good about him as an RB2 tonight. Tentatively, Gibbs, RB2. He's being drafted to have, regular top 15 upside, high-end RB2 with some low-end RB1 weeks. That's how Jahmyr Gibbs is getting drafted this year. Modestly, yeah, we're hoping for an RB2 performance tonight. Maybe with a little extra. We'll see. Jamal Williams or Pierce. I'm sorry. I remember this. That's right. I remember this. This was a comment on a video. Yeah. Look, if you're Jamal Williams is fine to fire up. And if I get it's Dameon Pierce, you probably spent a 4th or 5th round pick to put him on your team. That generally spells starter week 1. But if you're worried about the matchup and there's a guy that you have who is interesting to start the season, who you like, then play the dude that you have more confidence in. And I think that's perfectly fine to fire up Jamal Williams over Pierce. I'm not as worried about the matchup For Baltimore, or for Pierce against Baltimore, I'm not as worried about that matchup per se, but also, I mean, Jamal Williams is going to have that backfield to himself. Alvin Kamara is suspended. Kendre Miller, last I checked, is not currently practicing. I mean, if this is a guy that you feel comfortable with over a guy, like if there's, it's kind of easy. If there's a guy that you feel comfortable with and maybe he's like considered a better guy, but you don't feel comfortable with him, then play the dude that you feel more comfortable with. And in this situation, I think it's fine. I don't think it's overthinking putting Jamal Williams in over Dameon Pierce. It's close, but because of situations, I think it's a fair move to make. I think it's a fair move to make. Yeah. I mean, if you have Mahomes, obviously it's enticing to put a stack together. But I think in this scenario, you start Noah Gray if your alternative options are, like Irv Smith or Jake Ferguson or Luke Musgrave or then it's like, okay, fine, fire up Noah Gray. But any veteran guy, like in this range, like, I'm still starting like Chigakonkwo. I'm starting Dalton Schultz. I'm starting Gerald Everett. I'm starting Juwan Johnson. All of those guys. Now, if you want to put him over, say, Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, I would probably play Cole Kmet over Noah Gray. But if you want to fire him up over like Ty Conklin, Irv Smith, the bottom of the barrel, okay, fine. Noah Gray is a fine roll of the dice. But anybody with any type of veteran experience or who's been around the block, even if it's just one NFL season, I would prefer that. It's, give me a veteran who's a little bit more proven over a guy who is certainly interesting, certainly enticing, but he's only starting because of a major injury. So there's reason to have confidence in Noah Gray. There's too many veterans that I still want to play over him. I'm playing Noah Gray if I'm between him and like Luke Musgrave-ish. In that range. Irv Smith. Jake Ferguson. Even though Jake Ferguson is interesting too. But if you want to fire up Noah Gray over a guy like that, that's fine. Juwan Johnson, Gerald Everett, Chigakonkwo, Greg Dulcich. I'm playing those guys over Noah Gray. Noah Gray is like in that tight end 15-ish range, maybe closer to tight end 20 for me. I'm not moving him up into the top 12 just because he's a starter. He's not in the top 12 of the tight end rankings for this week just because he's playing. Top 20? Yeah, absolutely. Top 15? He should flirt with that. Top 12? Too high. What's going on, Jason? Good to see you. Start the guy you're leaning. Start Chigakonkwo. I believe he's got top 10 upside this week. He's a guy who has top 10 upside. I have Chig listed as a low end tight end 1 for this week. Other places, I'm sure other areas, other sources are going to rank him lower than that. I think Okonkwo is going to have a nice, has some real potential for a nice week. Titans are on the road against the Saints. Saints are expected to win. Saints are objectively a better team than the Titans. And Treylon Burks, we expect to go back to his normal role, but he missed some time this offseason. It's possible they ask a little bit more of Okonkwo, at least early on, while Treylon Burks gets kind of back into a groove, gets back into a rhythm. He only just returned last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But it feels like it was within the past 10 days was when Treylon Burks returned. I would take Okonkwo easily over those other guys like Kincaid or Michael Mayer. Yeah, I'm in on Okonkwo this week, and definitively over somebody like a Noah Gray. Someone dropped in Njoku. That man, that's just impulsive sloppiness. You don't. Njoku was drafted as a top 10 tight end. You don't drop him. You don't drop him for a stopgap. That was foolish. That was foolish. Again, with Sky Moore, I'm starting Sky Moore over a lot of players tonight, and maybe I'm jumping the gun or putting the cart before the horse, whatever phrase you want to use with Sky Moore. I'll be honest, I'm not even sure how good Sky Moore actually is, but he's a second-year player now, got a year of NFL experience under his belt, plays with Patrick Mahomes, and his opportunity just blew wide open, just doors wide open. Travis Kelce is not going to play. Kadarius Toney only just recently returned to practice. How much can we expect of him tonight? I know that Andy Reid has said he's good to go tonight and he's going to play. He's going to suit up, but what do we expect from Kadarius Toney? And then everything else is just random dart throws. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is an every down receiver for them. He's a weekly dart throw. I mean, Justin Ross, more unproven right now, I would say, than Sky Moore. Not that it's by much, but Sky Moore at least played last year, got NFL experience under his belt. I got to think for at least this first game, Sky Moore has a 7 or 8 target floor, 4 or 5 catch floor. These are the low bar that I'm setting for him right now. He should have a floor of 5 catches. There's a lot of receivers I am firing up. There's a lot of receivers I am firing Sky Moore up over. I think I see Michael Thomas. Yeah, I'm firing up Sky Moore over Michael Thomas. I need to see Michael Thomas first. I know he had a good opener last year. I think that was wasn't week 1 last year, the game where Michael Thomas caught 2 touchdowns and it was holy shit, he's back. But then, he wasn't, unfortunately. Sky Moore should be his team's top target tonight. I don't know that Michael Thomas is going to be his team's top target, not with Chris Olave now in the fold. I am starting Sky Moore over Michael Thomas. And if Sky Moore was dropped, even if he has a bad game, put a waiver claim in for him. Put a waiver claim in for him tonight. Again, I don't know how good he is, but what I do know is that his opportunity is wide open. And AB, yeah, I don't want to drop H. I hate these roster crunches. I hate kickers. I hate that kickers do this to us. They force us to drop good players that we would rather roster who have flex appeal or more, at least down the line. I hate kickers. I would, if I were president, my first act as president of the United States of America would be to ban kickers from fantasy football and replace it with a flex spot. Pain 2024. That being said, I would drop A-Chain. Mostert gives you right now short-term value and is an RB2 this week. Jeff Wilson is out. A-Chain is practicing, but whatever. Take it with a grain of salt. He's listed as the 3rd running back behind Salvon Ahmed. I don't buy it, but That could mean that they ease A-Chain. They ease him back in slowly after the shoulder injury. Mostert's got RB2 upside this week, and I don't think A-Chain does. A-Chain is the long play. Mostert is the guy that can help you week 1. I would not make that move, though, until I have to. I would not make that move until Sunday, AB, because don't free one of those guys up. I guess it's probably got to be A-Chain, even though I really like A-Chain. Don't free up A-Chain for somebody else to pick up potentially before the week is over, before Sunday is actually played. Let him pass through waivers and give yourself, I guess, an opportunity to get him in week 2. I wouldn't make that. I wouldn't make that move until I absolutely have to. But I think it's got to be A-Chain. It sucks. I love A-Chain as the ceiling play in this backfield and as the long-term play in this backfield, but Mostert gives you an RB2 right now. I guess it depends on what you... To that end, I guess it depends on what you value more or what you need right now. If you need an RB2, Mostert can give that to you this week. If you're not starting Mostert, then maybe you consider and you want to roll the dice on what I think is the potential long-term play. You could hold A-Chain. Ultimately, it would hurt me to do it, but I would probably drop A-Chain and give me the guy who is an RB2 right now, and I'll figure out the rest later. Sky Moore over Terry McLaurin. I mean, yeah, probably. Terry's on the. This is like the cutoff. Terry's on the mend. Logged a full practice today, which is great. Great for Terry McLaurin. Dr. Chow, one of those medical doctors on X, formerly Twitter, put out a tweet, something about how Terry was still favoring his right foot or right leg, whatever it is, where he suffered the turf toe. So he might still be working his way through it. If he was 100% healthy, Terry would be a guy I would fire up over Sky Moore. I think I would, if I had Sky Moore and Terry McLaurin, that's tough. It's tough to bench Terry. The swing for the fences, the upside is to fire up Sky Moore. The upside play is Sky Moore. Terry's floor is higher than Sky Moore. If Sky Moore only gets his floor, which I'll put it like, let's say 4 catches for like 40 yards, in half PPR, obviously like 6 points or so, that I got to imagine that's his floor. But you're not going to feel good about that. I will say I think Sky's ceiling is higher than Terry's. The ceiling play is Sky Moore. The safe play with some downside, but also Terry's a baller. The safe play is Terry. I see a few more people jumping in. Welcome, guys. Football's back. I know everybody's excited. I know everyone's looking forward to it. I will help with start-sit questions, especially ones that pertain to tonight's game. I know there's a lot of Sky Moore questions right now. If you have a start-sit question that only pertains to Sunday or Monday, I can get to it tonight, but I would be able to give you like probably a truly better thought process over the weekend. If you're able to make a weekend stream, I will be hosting start-sit live streams this weekend and as many weekends as I possibly can over the course of the NFL season. 6 p.m. on Saturday, 11 a.m. 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. If you can't make one of those, I'm happy to help out tonight, but we are going to go through a full round of practice tomorrow that could potentially sway the thought process a little bit. So tune in over the weekend if you can. Obviously, anything tonight that pertains to tonight, happy to talk shop on. Between Terry or Lockett, again, Terry's turf toe makes me a little nervous. I would play it safe with Lockett. I would play it safe with Lockett, personally, especially with, the news has been great so far with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We weren't sure if he was going to have to miss a game or two with the fracture that I think it was called a slight or small fracture that he suffered in the preseason to his wrist, but he's practicing this week. So great news for Smith and Jigba, but to that point, is he going to get like a full complement of snaps as if the injury hadn't occurred? I'll rock with Tyler Lockett for week 1, assuming that he remains at least his team's second option in the passing game. And he's fully healthy. Terry's dealing with the turf toe. I'll take Lockett. I'll take Lockett there. What's going on, Fortune? You already know, bro. You already know. Put a pretty good keeper league squad together last night in the good old home league. Nicely done. Exciting night, exciting evening of festivities. The Travis Kelce injury is unfortunate, but he will be back sooner than later. He was close to being able to play tonight, but the team ultimately chose not to risk that, put the team's future and the players' future first, which is great. It's possible we see Travis Kelce week 2. I was originally thinking we might have to wait until week 3 to see Travis Kelce, but he tried for tonight. That could mean that he's closer than we originally thought. Hopefully 10 days off between tonight and week 2 will bear some better news for Travis Kelce. Still expected to be a good game tonight. Defending champs against one of the trendy picks to have a really strong season in the Detroit Lions. It's going to be fun. Who would I start for Kansas City? You're starting Mahomes. You're starting Isaiah Pacheco, most likely. He would, if he's your RB4, then I guess you're not, but there's probably plenty of teams that are firing up Isaiah Pacheco. And I would say in most scenarios, if you start only 2 wide receivers, maybe you're not firing up Sky Moore. But if you start 3 wide receivers, you probably need to find a way to get Sky Moore into your lineup. Those are the locks. Mahomes, no matter what. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be in 90% of lineups. And I got to imagine Sky Moore needs to be in every lineup that starts 3 receivers, and probably even some lineups that only start 2. Those are the locks. And then again, of course, move all those players out of your flex. I'll say this a couple times. I'll probably say it I will say it numerous times over the course of the season. Move your Thursday Night Football players out of the flex spot. Maximize your flexibility. Keep it open for a player who's playing either Sunday or Monday. Don't mess around with the football gods, because they will smite you if you do. Fantasy is a cruel game. We've done this enough times to know that. Between Herbert, Mostert, that's D-Hop, and Hollywood, as far as a full PPR flex, Mostert. Probably Mostert. With Jeff Wilson on the shelf, Mostert's an RB2. In full PPR, I think I got to go Mostert. even in full PPR, I think I got to go Mostert. If Jeff Wilson was playing, I would probably tell you to roll the dice on Khalil Herbert, but because he's not, I think you got to go Mostert. They're both really good options. But Khalil Herbert still has whatever combination of Donta Foreman and Roschon Johnson to contend with, plus Justin Fields. Mostert just has Salvon Ahmed. And then whatever A-Chain can give them in his first game, also working his way back from a shoulder injury. And between Laporta and Dulcich, I would go Dulcich. Laporta is interesting. Luke Musgrave is interesting. Dalton Kincaid is interesting. Dalton Kincaid probably has a little bit more appeal just because he's a first-round pick, but Laporta and Musgrave were second-round picks. It is hard. I mean, we're seeing trends like shattered left and right in the NFL these days, but one that is still kind of constant is young tight ends getting off to a slow start from a production perspective. I would rock with the guy who's got some experience in Dulcich first. And Fortune, really quick. Again, I will, any members that I see in here, I will get to the member questions first. I will try to get to everybody. So if you think I skipped over you, I will make sure that I get back to your question. But I do try to get to the members first. If you like what you see from the channel, if you're interested in becoming a member, there is information in the first link in the description of this live stream and all of my videos / other live streams. But as far as with Kelce being out, I mean, Sky Moore's not in over Amari Cooper. He might be in over Deontay. I love Deontay Johnson, and this is probably a little ballsy, but Sky Moore is the upside play here. Sky Moore is the upside play here. I'm not putting him in over Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is still like one of those dudes that you drafted, you drafted in the third round. He's in that regard, you expect him to be like one of your bulletproof players. Amari Cooper has to be in there. As much as I love Deontay Johnson, and I'm still perfectly fine firing up Deontay Johnson at home, he's the safe play. Sky Moore is the swing for the fences. His floor is lower, but it might be fair to say that Sky's ceiling is a little higher. I love Deontay Johnson. I have a hard time putting him on my bench. He is still a safe play, but if you feel like you need to swing for the fences, if you feel like you need the upside, then I would go Sky Moore. I'm not going Sky Moore over somebody like Devontae Smith. There's no shot. No chance. It's got to be Devontae Smith. But there is an argument for a guy like Deontay Johnson. Now, I'm expecting a bounce back season for Deontay Johnson. Scored 0 touchdowns last year. That will change. He will have more than 0 touchdowns this year. I feel really good about Deontay Johnson on the whole. He's a perfectly safe play, Fortune, if you want to stick with him. But if you're looking at your matchup, if you're looking at your situation and you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to play it safe, I want to go for the home run, then it would be Sky Moore. But the guy that I'm between these three, the guy that I'm definitively keeping in your lineup is Amari Cooper. The Browns are playing the Bengals. There's a chance for solid number of points scored there. And if, and neither one of those teams can rest on their laurels. If the Browns have a lead, great. You're playing Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Keep throwing the ball. If the Browns are trailing, they're going to be throwing the ball. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You're firing up Amari Cooper. Sky Moore, ceiling play. Deontay Johnson, safe play. Between McKinnon or Jacoby Myers, that's true flex, but I respect the 14 team league. McKinnon certainly got a little bit more appeal tonight as a pass catching back out of the backfield. You would imagine he's a potential candidate to replace some Travis Kelce production because, again, running backs and tight ends kind of share those short and intermediate opportunities in the receiving game. So that could mean a couple more looks for McKinnon in the passing game. I would probably roll the dice on that. If you prefer, I mean, it's fair to want to, it's fair to want to prefer a wide receiver in full PPR. And Myers will be a starter for a regular every down starter for the Raiders, whereas McKinnon is a rotational running back. So from that perspective, it just kind of depends on what you prefer. Do you want a guy who's on the field for every play? Or do you want a situational running back who can certainly pop off, has plenty of pass catching upside out of the backfield, but will share the backfield with Pacheco and maybe even Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe. I don't know how likely that actually is, but certainly Isaiah Pacheco. I would say McKinnon is your safe play and Myers is your, or let me put it this way. Myers is your safe play. McKinnon is maybe more of a ceiling play because if he doesn't get a touchdown, McKinnon's like a boom bust flex. Myers is in full PPR, should be a safe wide receiver 3. McKinnon is a boom bust flex. McKinnon, ceiling play. Myers, safe play. Yeah, and as far as Mahomes, it's fair to question, what do we expect from him tonight? Because the numbers do support that the numbers are not as gaudy when Travis Kelce is not on the field. Now, the problem with that is the sample size is incredibly limited because Travis Kelce hasn't missed a game since even before Mahomes was inserted as the full-time starter. So the sample size is small. You still expect the best quarterback in the NFL to be the best quarterback in the NFL, regardless of the talent around him. Like, you're firing him up no matter what. But yeah, maybe temper expectations a little bit. I do like the running backs tonight for the Lions. I think they both are in a good situation tonight. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both have RB2 upside this week in a great matchup where the Chiefs will be without their best defensive player in Chris Jones. I would expect David Montgomery has a bit of a boost here tonight because he's probably the guy who's going to get a few more carries. Jahmyr Gibbs is, you would think, a little bit more of a threat as a receiver. So regardless, I like both of them tonight. I'd be firing up both of them tonight in nearly all formats. Montgomery has strong, safe RB2 upside here. I would imagine he gets first crack at goal line duties. And short yardage situations. The chances to convert those are higher against the Chiefs when they don't have Chris Jones. I like the running backs this week. I like the Lions running backs this week. And then I guess just as far as the Chiefs running backs go, they should be pretty involved as well. Everybody has to, this is not like necessarily one player is going to fill the void of losing Travis Kelce. You're going to ask each each player on the offense to pitch in a little bit more. So there's a little bit more on Isaiah Pacheco's plate tonight. There's a little bit more on Jerick McKinnon's plate tonight. God help me, maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire mixes in a little bit more than you would maybe think coming into a game like this. Just because they need to find help from wherever they can because they're missing their most important player on offense, not named Patrick Mahomes. Do I like Sky Moore to probably has the best chance to soak up more targets tonight? Yeah. Marquez Valdes-Scantling will be asked to do a little bit more. We might see Justin Ross out there in his first regular season action in the NFL. Of course, there's Noah Gray. They also have, who's the other tight end that they have? Don't they have like Blake Bell on that roster? At this point, maybe you're asking a little too much, but everyone's going to be asked to step up here. So I would imagine that include, a little bit more work for Pacheco, a little bit more work for Jerick McKinnon. Both of those guys have, let's call it high-end RB3, low-end RB2 upside. Maybe Pacheco's a little bit more of a low-end RB2 potential this evening. He gets a little bit of an uptick with Kelce being out. So it's of course all hands on deck for the Chiefs. I do think if they are able to control this game a little bit, they're going to run the ball maybe a little bit more than they usually do, maybe a little bit more than you expect the Chiefs to run. But that's going to be dependent on how well the Chiefs defense does with the Lions offense. It's an offense that you expect to have success, even though they're a dome team on the road. Man, we're getting into all these variables again, man, right? This is why it's fun to dissect these situations. Every little intangible is something that you want to consider when you're figuring out who to fire up into your lineup or whatever bets you're trying to make for the game. Lots of different potential factors at play here. And then, of course, you throw it all out the window once we hit the opening kickoff. So I'd give a slight bump to Pacheco. I'd give a slight bump to McKinnon. You're not starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire anywhere, but maybe he mixes in a little bit more as well. And then with Noah Gray, I would put him in between, as far as this week's rankings, I'd put him in the tight end 15 to 20 range. I'm not moving him into my top 12 just because Travis Kelce is out. I think that obviously Gray is going to start, get the most snaps at tight end, get the most likely get the most opportunities at tight end. But I think we're going to see, in a traditional Andy Reid offense, there's going to be a lot of different guys that get involved. A lot of different skill position guys are going to touch the ball tonight. It's going to be one of those nights where you flash the stat up on the screen that Patrick Mahomes has completed a pass to 8 different receivers tonight. I would imagine we see one of those little statistic nuggets. There's going to be a lot of distribution tonight, a lot of different distribution tonight. That being said, I'd say Noah Gray is in the 15 to 7 or in the 15 to 20 range. I'm not putting him into my top 10 or top 12 for the week. But if we can get 3 to 5 catches, 35, 40, 45 yards, let's put his chances at scoring at around like 15 to 20%, maybe 15%. Touchdown likelihood is so random and very difficult to project or chart out. I would say the tight end 15 to tight end 20 range. That's about where I'm willing to go with him. But we'll see. I mean, he's a third-year player. He's 24 years old. You figure he's on the way, he's on his way up. There's an opportunity here, but only in deeper formats. Like again, Chigakonkwo, I'm starting over Noah Gray. Greg Dulcich, like a Dalton Schultz, Gerald Everett. Who else have I said? Juwan Johnson. I'm firing up all of these guys over Noah Gray. The benchmark is if you want, between him or say like Luke Musgrave or Sam Laporta, the trendy rookie tight ends. Okay, fine. If those are your other alternative options, then fire up Noah Gray. But a veteran, a guy with any amount of experience, whether it's 1 year or 5 years of experience, is just, especially at a position like tight end, is just going to be one that I favor, that I lean toward if I am desperate to move to a different player. In the wake of the Travis Kelce injury. Still, there should be some amount of fireworks tonight. Again, the line is around, I believe the line is around, it was 53. It's probably moved a couple of points with Kelce being out. Any folks who bet the under coming into today are probably feeling pretty good. Nevertheless, I do think we can still get, maybe we're not going to get a 28-24 game, but somewhere in the 24-21 range, I think is certainly possible. Couple extra field goals maybe pushes it closer to the over. But there should be enough production here for fantasy managers to feel good about. Mahomes is a little dicey because if they only get, say, 3 touchdowns, and if a running back gets one of those, then that's going to feel like a loss with Patrick Mahomes. But that being said, you're not firing up Patrick Mahomes. Should still be plenty of intrigue, plenty of opportunities for guys to have big nights. The guy who is most trendy, and I would say is the ceiling play in this game, is Sky Moore. The benchmark is, say, I think a couple of good names were brought up earlier. A hobbled Terry McLaurin, there's certainly an argument there. A guy like Deontay Johnson, there's certainly an argument there. You're not starting Sky Moore over any of your bona fide studs, the dudes that you drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round. You're firing up all of those guys over Sky Moore. But the guy who's your wide receiver 3 in leagues that start 3 receivers, yeah, there's a conversation to be had. Sky Moore over a guy like that. He's the most interesting play. You're firing up Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would say definitively, at this point, you're firing up both Detroit running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Jared Goff is an easy start in Superflex leagues, not so much in one quarterback leagues. And Sam Laporta, I hope you're not starting outside of random dynasty leagues that are thin at tight end. That's about it. Plenty of intrigue regardless. I know you guys are hype. We got only about an hour left until the game. If there are any last questions, any questions I may have missed, I don't think I did. If there are any questions that anybody has in the next couple of minutes, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, going to be shutting this down shortly. Give you guys an opportunity to break, get yourself ready for the game, check your starting lineups 3 or 4 final times, make sure everything is all squared away for this evening. Happy to talk shop if anybody needs anything in these last couple of minutes. Again, one more time, Start Sit Help live streams on this channel, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. I encourage you to try to make one of those if you can. We'll have more definitive information in the form of Friday practice reports to give the best thought process I can provide as it pertains to Start Sit Help. So be sure to tune in if you can. As far as memberships and the members go, I will go out of order to ask to help out the members first ahead of, I'll get to the general public. I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. But if I see a member question, I will prioritize that one. If you are interested in becoming a member and kind of being able to jump the line for start sit help, there's information in the first link of the description of this live stream and all the videos on this channel. If you're interested in memberships, I don't ask for a ton, but if if you feel so inclined to support the channel, it's much appreciated. But obviously, I will answer questions for pretty much anybody as when I'm able to. And there's a couple other perks that come along with memberships as well, including just I'll shout you out specifically when answering your questions, so you know that I am talking to you. There's also Discord. If you're not a part of the Discord, second link in the description of this live stream, and of course all of my other videos. If you want to be a part of the Discord, if you aren't able to make any of the live streams, or if you're caught up or busy with other things, you could drop your question in there. It's free to join. Again, members will get priority and potentially a little bit more of a detailed response from me in the Discord. But that is also free to join. You can crowdsource as well in there for any questions that you may have over the course of the season. That about does it for my stream spiel, with about 60 minutes, about 65 minutes or so before kickoff here between the Chiefs and the Lions. Plenty of good fantasy implications here. I know lots of interest in Sky Moore and what he will do tonight. He is the guy for me to watch. He is the player for me to watch tonight. The opportunity is wide open for him. Let's see if he can capitalize. And then the other guy, of course, that is interesting, but I'm not advocating starting over other guys that you drafted this in 2023 redraft leagues, is Noah Gray. Let's see if he can crack into the top 15 tight ends tonight. I'm not personally banking on it, but tight end is a barren wasteland and pretty volatile, so crazier things have happened. And then, of course, let's see how interesting of a game the Lions can make this. They're probably going to be a trendy upset pick in the wake of the Travis Kelce injury. I'm not sure I would bet against Patrick Mahomes, though, at home, kicking off the Chiefs' Super Bowl defense. With that said, I don't see any other new questions in the chat. Going to go ahead and shut this thing down. Everybody, enjoy the game. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out tonight. I will be around all weekend to help you guys out. Be sure to tune in for one of, or if not both of, the Saturday and Sunday live streams. We'll talk shop then. We'll talk even more football and more start sit help as we get ready for the full week 1 slate. Have a great night. Have a great weekend if I don't see or talk to any of you. But be sure to tune in for the start sit help if you are able to, when we have the best information available to us. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the game. Happy football.